guys, welcome back to the podcast, Digging Deeper with Mandy and Erica.
I'm Mandy.
And I'm Erica. If you're new, welcome and thank you for joining us. This is a podcast about digging deeper into God's Word to learn it, understand it, and share it with you.
That's right, Erica. And we're back in the series of Abigail. So, what are we going through today?
Well, the last podcast we did, we stopped in verse 3. So I think we'll just pick it up in verse 4. Okay, so like I said, last week we talked about verses 1 through 3. We're going to pick it up in verse 4 here. I am going to read from verse 4 to 11. If you guys haven't read through that yet, that's okay. We'll read through it now. But you should go ahead and read the whole chapter on your own as homework. Read it a couple times. Get really familiar with the story. But today we're going to try to focus on verses 4 through 11. Who knows what will actually happen?
Yeah, nobody really knows.
Okay, so here we go. Verse 4. 1 Samuel 25, verse 4. David heard in the wilderness that Nabal was shearing his sheep. So David sent 10 young men, and David said to the young men, "Go up to Carmel and go to Nabal and greet him in my name. And thus you shall greet him, peace be to you, peace be to your house, and peace be to all that you have. I hear that you have shears. Now your shepherds have been with us, and we did them no harm, and they missed nothing all the time that they were in Carmel. Ask your young men, and they will tell you. Therefore let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we come on a feast day. Please give whatever you have at hand to your servants and to your son David." When David's young men came, they said all this to Nabal in the name of David, and then they waited. And Nabal answered David's servants, "Who is David? Who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants these days who are breaking away from their masters. Shall I take my bread and my water and my meat that I have killed from my shearers and give it to men who come from I do not know where?" Okay, so David's young men turned away and came back and told him all this. They told all that to David. So that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to stop there, and the next time we meet, whenever that will be, we will pick up the story about how David reacted to hearing that. Okay, initial thoughts, Mandy, right from the beginning.
Nabal is greedy. That's my first thoughts.
Yeah.
What is yours?
Well, first thought, trying to not think about everything I planned to say, this guy is really harsh. Like he could have just said no, you know what I mean? But he was really harsh. He insulted David. David was kind. David was respectful. So, yeah, why was he so mean and harsh towards David? So
his name says it all.
He was a fool.
Yeah.
So we talked about that in the last podcast. So just to recap, just make sure we're all on the same page. If you missed last week, the first 3 verses of this chapter was more or less like an introduction. We learned that where David was. We learned about Nabal, and we learned that his wife is Abigail, and that's what we're studying is Abigail. So this is background. This is leading us up to probably next time we meet. We're going to talk about how Abigail reacted. But for that to really make sense, we've got to kind of spend some time here. And this is Abigail's husband, Nabal.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said, this was harvest time for sheep shearers or shepherds. I don't know if those terms are interchangeable. I'm going to interchange them. Shepherd, sheep shearer, whatever. Guy was a sheep farmer shearing sheep.
Yes.
And this was a really festive, celebratory time, a time of lavish giving and of celebrating and parties and giving and sharing. It was a time of abundance, So that's what's happening here. And we know that Nabal is celebrating because later on in the chapter, he's having a party and he gets drunk. So he is partaking in this festivities.
Well, yeah, it even says it here. Where is it? Right here. "Therefore let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we came on feast day."
Yeah. It was actually like David thought this out,
Yeah.
And he came respectfully. He did really good.
Yeah. Said, "Peace be with you." Like, we're not here to harm you or anything. All we ask for is just like some leftovers, really.
Right. So why, just to this part of the recap still, why is David out here and asking for some sustenance. It's because he's in this going back and forth right now with Saul. Remember, at this time, Saul is the king, and David is the king-elect, so to speak. Everyone knows that David is anointed to be the next king. And there's this period in time where Saul is playing like cat and mouse with David. It's like Tom and Jerry. Like, Saul's chasing down David to put him to death, and David's trying to outrun him, and it's this awkward time.
Yeah.
And this is where we're at.
Yep.
That's why David is out here with his men, and now he is reaching out to Nabal just for some provisions. So let's just start in chapter 4. This is what we do on all of these, is we just go through verse by verse and dig deep into the word. Okay, verse 4. And I'm just going to read this from my Bible now. We have the ESV up behind us.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it up because we're going to be referring back to it and everything. At least I am.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to start over again. I'm going to be reading it from my Bible, which is the NASB. It's a little bit different from what you'll see on the screen. It's okay. All right, verse 4. That David heard in the wilderness that Nabal was shearing his sheep. Okay, David heard. David was a shepherd. He knows what sheep shearing's all about.
Yeah, he was. He knew all what was going on.
He knows the whole thing.
That's why he knew this festival was going on.
Yep.
Makes sense now.
Yep. Duh.
Jeez, whiz.
So, David sent 10... David is a good leader, you know?
Yeah.
He considers this... You know, he's been in the wilderness for quite some time. He didn't just show up here and just walk around asking for handouts. They've been in the wilderness, him and his men. There's like 400 men. Actually, I think there's 600.
It's 600.
Yeah, it's got 600 men with him. And he's got to care for these guys. So, he knows what he's doing, and he's making a good move. So, yeah, he hears that there's sheep shearing going on. So, David sent 10 young men. Okay, and for 600 guys, sending 10 young men... You're not asking for everything. You're not asking for a ton.
That's kind of risky, if you ask me.
Okay, I'll ask you.
To send 10 young men and to go and ask these guys if they can just have some of their food that they're having right now. Like, if it was me, it would be like some more mature, older men to humble themselves because... I mean, for real, if we're really being honest here, do you think it'd be better to send a more mature person to humble themselves before somebody to ask for something, or young people to go and humble themselves to ask for stuff?
It would seem like you'd want to send the older, more mature men.
Yeah.
But maybe he was expecting a lot, and so he needed younger, stronger men.
Well, I'm just looking at different perspectives, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it never dawned on me till just right now that...
For whatever reason, he chose young men. And maybe they were all young.
Well, I don't know. Because they were all warriors, too. And, like, to be somebody like that, like, you gotta be a rugged man. You know what I mean?
Rugged.
Rugged.
You mean the 10 young men were rugged?
All of them.
Oh, okay.
Really?
The 600 rugged men?
Yeah. Really, to be in battle and fighting and stuff like that. To be out in the
wilderness, Surviving when the king is pursuing you, yeah. Rugged men here.
Yeah, some rugged men. And, like, another thing that I just figured out is David wasn't with them. I thought all along that David went with them. And that's why he was so mad. And that's why Nabal said... Who's this David?
Yeah, well, you pointed out that the Bible says they're young men. These men David must be a good leader because he trusted the young men to go and to faithfully tell Nabal what they were told and to report back to David faithfully what Nabal told them. And they did. So, I don't know, this just kind of like points back to David. He was a good leader, a good military man, a good rugged military man.
Make fun of me all you want.
No, it's a great word. These guys are tough.
Yeah. And then to humble themselves before this guy and ask for food. Yeah. Do you know how hard it is for a man to ask for something, first of all? And then to have to humble himself? Yeah. Because these guys did come humbly.
But he still didn't ask for directions how to get out of the wilderness.
What do you mean?
You know the joke. Guys don't ask for directions.
Yeah.
No, okay.
They're still in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Is that the joke?
No.
Sorry. My brain isn't working.
I get what you're saying, though.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so verse 5.
There's
So David sent 10 young men, and David said to the young men, "Go up to Carmel, visit Nabal, and greet him in my name."
In my name.
In my name. That was important, like in my name. Don't
Yeah.
just say, I'm sorry we're out here. Like, it's my name.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my place now.
6.
Oh. And thus you shall say, "Have a long life. Peace be to you, and peace be to your house, and peace be to all that you have."
It's like they're saying, we are peaceful.
We come in peace.
So, you don't have to worry about a threat here.
Right. Yes. Because these were rugged men.
Yes. They were warriors.
Coming up to Nabal. Yeah.
That is what they were.
Okay. Now I have heard, verse 7, now I've heard that you have shearers. Now your shepherds have been with us, and we have not insulted them, nor have they missed anything all the days they were in Carmel.
So,
go ahead.
Stop in there.
Okay.
So, in verse 6, they was just saying, peace be with you. Peace be on your house. Peace be all that you have.
Yeah.
And then it says down here, I've heard that you have shearers. Now your shepherds have been with us. And we did them no harm, and they missed nothing. We took care of them. Now, can you please take care of us now in our time of need?
Yeah, and you know what? David's actually being humble here, too. And because, we're not going to talk about this today, but later on in the chapter, there's another guy who tells Abigail all the same thing, but we learn a little bit more from him. He gives us a little bit more detail. In verse 16... this guy tells Abigail, David's men, were a wall to us both by night and by day all the time we were with them tending the sheep. So it's not that David's men were just kind and respectful to Nabal's men, but they protected them actually while they were out there. And he called them a wall by day and by night.
Yeah, so 24/7, they protected them and helped them and made sure that they were taken care of while they was taking care of Nabal's sheep.
Right, and David and his men didn't have to do that, but he did.
That's his character, though.
Yes. So this is perfectly reasonable for David to come up to Nabal, through these 10 guys and say, we come in peace and just want to let you know we're out here, we're taking care of your guys, we haven't done anything to harm them. And even beyond that, they were protecting them from harm. Mm-hmm. So then in verse 8, David's men say, "Ask your men and they will tell you." We're not making this up. Mm-hmm. Ask your guys, they'll confirm this. Therefore, right, and here's the request. "Let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we have come on a festive day." There's that preparation by David. We've come at this specific time where people are giving things out already. This isn't an inopportune time where everything's scarce. This is intentional, us coming at this time. We come on a festive day. "Please give whatever you find at hand to your servants and to your son, David." So he's not saying we demand all this stuff because of what we've done for you. He's just saying whatever you have, whatever you can give, we'd be happy to have any of it. Please,
just share what you have.
Yeah, please give to us. And it refers to himself as his son. So he's putting him in that respectable place as someone older than him, like a father position, respect your elders type of thing.
Yeah.
So everything David's doing here is really good, really respectful, really kind, and reasonable. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You agree?
I agree.
Okay. Verse 9, when David's young men came, they spoke to Nabal according to all these words in David's name. Then they waited. But, there's that word. But Nabal answered David's servants and said, "Who is David? And who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants today who are each breaking away from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water, my meat that I have slaughtered from my shearers, and give it to men whose origin I do not know?" That's the response.
So this here is all what Nabal just said.